Hey! Welcome to Geek News Now, MCU Mondays, Marvel Mondays. We're talking about MCU, we're talking about Marvel. Everything we do here on MCU Mondays on Geek News Now is about Marvel. So we're talking about it. My name's Chris. Who cares? My co-host is Debbie. Say hi, Debbie.
Hello.
I said say okay. David's here, Austin. How you doing, David?
Awesome.
I said say hi. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that to you.
Hi, Debbie.
And we've got Jeff. That was actually. Hold on, quick. Well done, David. And we got Jeff with us down below. True Knowledge.
That's right.
Jeff from the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We've had him with us a couple times before. I think actually the past 4 weeks, barring one, he's been on the MCU Mondays with us, and we very much enjoy having him here. He's a new addition to the Geek News Now team. Very much enjoy having him here. He just did a bunch of reactions to some DC stuff.
Damn it.
I know, DC Comics. Wow, no, Kryptonite. I mean, wait, no, that's also DC's.
No.
But yes, that exists, and looks like they're trying harder. And myself and Jeff and Debbie did some reactions to the DC fandom stuff, and look, we had some issues, but hey, it looks good. It looks better than if you look at the past, 5 years before now with the DC stuff, and then you look at what they got going. There's potential. And
I'm not holding my breath. I'm sorry.
No one's holding their breath. Why would you? I mean, especially with the delays that are happening.
I'm jazzed for the Batman, man. I'm telling you, those trailers are really good.
It does look good. And look, it's not like the character of the Batman is just ubiquitously gonna be amazing. Now, yes, there are some amazing properties like the original like the 90s Batman animated series. Like, that's quintessential. You can learn so much from that on how to do animated series right. But then there are other Batman animated series that they're like, oh, let's just but luckily, we're not here to talk about Batman or DC. We're talking about the MCU. This is MCU Mondays. Forget about it. I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about it other times, but not now. Today, we're going to actually talk about, because it's MCU Mondays, we're talking about the X-Men. They're bound to be joining the Disney, the MCU. Fox has been bought. It's going to happen. So we're going to talk about X-Men today, and we're going to talk about the Fox X-Men, the first trilogy, and we're going to take a look at that, what they did with those X-Men, how that could be within this expanded multiverse. We also have a Hawkeye trailer to look at. I'm excited to see that because the first Hawkeye trailer blew me away. And I think I'm not alone in that feeling.
It's going to be amazing.
I think it's going to be good. And it's very much going to be... I'm excited to look at that second trailer. We're probably going to do that early on. But we also have to talk about a lot of the delays. There have been delays. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to get into all of that within the next hour or so. But it's past time that we had our theme song.
Theme song guy.
Oh, yeah! It's MCU Mondays on Geek News Now. We're talking about Marvel, Geek News Now. Movies and TV and comics, news, opinions, breaking news and reviews.
I cannot wait to talk about those X-Men films. Yeah, it is nice. Yeah, dude, that presidential scene. Oh man, and I can't wait to talk about the story about all that stuff. Yeah, we'll get to it. I know. No, I'm super excited. I'm stalling myself here, but we got to talk about the major MCU news. Delays. We're pushing it back. Hey, were you excited for Doctor Strange 2? Guess what? Being pushed back to May. Thor: Love and Thunder pushed back to July. Black Panther 2 pushed back to what? November. I mean, I'll put that back up in a second, but initial thoughts. This just came out today, was released. Thoughts?
Not happy.
I'm not happy. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised though, because okay. Typically, the first weekend in May is the big Marvel movie. It was Civil War, both of the Avengers movies, or the Ultron and the original Avengers movies. But the thing with it was that always coincides with May the 4th. And so my son and I, and it's always free comic book day too on that Saturday. So we always went and got free comic books. We went and did Star Wars stuff, and then we went and saw the Marvel movie. And it was like, that was just our geek out day. Well, they moved Thor: Love and Thunder, I think was supposed to be, and they bumped Strange up, which, I mean, I can kind of see that. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Back. They bumped everything back. Everything's been delayed.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is Thor was supposed to be the main movie this next year. Love and Thunder was supposed to be May 6th, 2022.
May 6th, yep.
Yeah. And now we get Doctor Strange too, which I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to go have my geek out day where I'm getting comic books and Star Wars stuff, heck yeah, I'd rather go see Doctor Strange. That's just me personally.
Hey, I'm with you there. I feel that feeling. Yeah, so for you that's a
well, and
that specific move there, that one is
well, and
good.
that specific move was fine, but I mean, even still, I mean, you got to think. So that's May. We've got Hawkeye coming up in November, so that's really just like 5 months where there's going to be theoretically nothing.
Something.
Spider-Man.
You'll have Spider-Man in December.
Between when Spider-Man comes out and then when Doctor Strange
comes out, you've got 5 months, give or take. Is Disney Plus going to do another series in between there?
That's the question. Will Disney Plus be filling in other things there? Most likely, yes. They might be doing that now. Other people have been raising the question: why is this even happening? There had been. What do you think, Jeff?
It could potentially be kind of a weak period from a standpoint of the fandom, because Miss Marvel is slated to be the next series that comes out after Hawkeye, and I mean,
that got delayed as well.
Oh, did it?
No, sorry, the Marvels.
Yeah, no,
Marvels got delayed.
I'm pretty sure that Miss Marvel is the next Disney Plus series they're going to go with. So, although I am optimistic about that series, and like I am optimistic about that character, I feel I want to believe that the show will do okay. It'll do well. It could be a little soft. It could be, a little bit like kind of how What If was a little bit different than live action was different, than what we gotten used to with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. It was kind of like a change of pace, and I feel like it was kind of like a softening. Like the content wasn't as good to me, like what we got out of What If compared to like Loki, for instance. So, at that point, I feel like Miss Marvel having to carry the weight of the MCU for a minute there could be potentially detrimental, to like, how well the show ends up doing.
Someone else mentioned that it could have been because, DC Fandom just came out. They had some release dates. They put out. The Batman was slated to release
in March.
In March.
Probably about the time Doctor Strange was supposed to release.
And
yep.
Let's just avoid the competition.
There is, that's my, that could be a valid reason for them. Now, does Marvel need to fear DC? It's not fearing anything, but it's, you got to think of the people that are in charge of like slating the release dates. They don't care about lore. They don't care about one thing versus the other thing. They care about making money. And so if they think that Batman would actually be serious competition for them, maybe they don't want to take that chance. Let Batman make its money when it gets a chance, and we'll take way more money and won't have to worry about that competition.
Prime example of that was there was a lot of rumors, and they turned out not to be true. But in 2017, when The Last Jedi released, the big thing was we're going to release it on May 25th. That'll be the 40th anniversary of A New Hope. You know, we're here with The Last Jedi. That's the 40th anniversary, and it got bumped. They bumped it back to December, and the reasoning was, oh well, December is when we release the other ones. Plus, they didn't want it competing with another Disney movie that was going to be opening that same weekend, the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Sure.
And I'm looking at it going,
and that's something else.
The pirates.
Yeah, that
the stupid pirates.
How many people? Well, then you saw The Last Jedi, and you were like, I'll watch more pirates.
No, I'm not going to get into that.
I know.
But also, too, I mean, you got to think, too, you throw them in December, what are you doing? You're selling Christmas toys. You put all those toys out for Christmas, and guess what everybody's getting for Christmas? Last Jedi toys.
I doubt it.
It's money.
And then they're just disappointed once they've seen it. And it's like, well, thank God I got myself a Snoke. Why doesn't it break in half? I'll do that myself. Anyway, so
you've got a Porg and you know it.
Nope, I got a Slave 1.
I've got many Slave 1s. And a Slave Leia.
Ba-doom! And to anyone who's watching this and they're thinking, oh my goodness, how could they say these things? Princess Leia herself said, when a man was like, how do I buy an action figure or something for my child when it looks like this? Look at what it looks like. Look at what she's wearing. And she said, well, tell him that a giant evil slug made me wear it, and then I killed him for it. Okay, you're welcome. Disney did not bring strong women to Star Wars, but
they were already there.
Again, there's nothing. No one has ever had a problem with strong women. That's also not Marvel, but Disney owns it all, so there's concerns. I get it. We get it. So, moving right into, I suppose. Well, do you want to do X-Men first? Or you want to do the Hawkeye trailer first? I'll leave it up to you all.
What did they say is the reason for these like changes in the release dates? Did they give any kind of
I hadn't heard any.
No,
now there had been there had been threats of some sort of strike, which we had experienced before, and it's basically everyone that works on movies that don't get paid millions of dollars are like, hey,
it's like the gaffer and the best boy and the lighting guys and
brass, yeah,
construction and all
gaffer,
the gaffer.
Yes, and yes,
and the key grip and the best boy grip.
Yeah, all those things you see in the credits, well, that you don't see in the credits because you leave. Oh, that you might have seen in the credits because you were waiting for the after the credits scene. But yes, all those people listed in that list of names that you ignored while you were leaving the theater, those are the people that make the movies. It's just also the director that gets the blame. I was recently watching Remember the Titans, and when it came to when Coach Boone, the black coach, got named as the head coach, and the other head coach who was supposed to be the head coach was going to be named his assistant coach, he was arguing with him. He's like, look, I've never seen an assistant coach be named in the papers for losing a game. Yeah, it's the director that gets, it's not everyone, but also they all help make the movies. In Jurassic Park, when that T-Rex, that animatronic T-Rex was losing its crap because of the water, who's putting towels on and whatnot? That's your production assistant. You know what a production assistant does? anything you need them to do. I know this because I graduated from film school, and they said, look, if you want to go do what a production assistant does, it's just, you're basically an intern. They just give you the title.
It's grunt work.
Production assistant. That's what it is. And it's absolutely true. But who knows? So, what do you guys want to do? You want to do a Hawkeye trailer first? Or,
Sure.
okay. I said,
I'm good either way.
I'm excited for the Hawkeye trailer.
Well, then I'm excited for it now. I was like, give me something. Come on.
I am.
And Debbie was like, yes, do that. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'm
Debbie.
your co-host.
It's going to be the best Christmas.
Hold on. Thank you, Debbie. Welcome to Geek News Now, where today we're taking a look at the newest Hawkeye trailer.
We're not going to get bumped for showing this, are we?
I hope not. Let's
Yeah,
find
it's
out.
been out for a few days.
It's going to be the best Christmas ever. So I took the kids to New York to see a show.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
And then people started trying to kill us.
Actually, it's pretty bad when you think about it.
It's the most wonderful time.
Let me guess, you're gonna need another day.
Or two. Things have gotten complicated. Probably should have brought more guys. Oh, good. You did.
It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time.
We're out of regular arrows.
Oh my god, trick arrows? Your arrows more dangerous than that one?
Marvel's Hawkeye.
This is some Christmas.
First 2 episodes streaming November 24th.
Hey,
Only on Disney Plus.
So it's the Thanksgiving event
Yeah.
leading into the Christmas
Christmas.
event. We're gonna try and corner all the holidays.
This will be the newest Christmas special everybody watches every year.
It's the most wonderful time.
I
Thanksgiving.
definitely think that we talked about this last night on the show on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. The fact that I think everybody loves Hawkeye as Ronin, or loved Hawkeye as Ronin, like in Endgame and everything and whatnot. And it would have been really, really cool if Marvel Studios had done like a Disney Plus series where they did like a precursor where they showed him as Ronin and what he did like in those years before Endgame. You know, like that would have been really, really cool if they did that. I would have really dug that. I liked him as Ronin.
Oh yeah, I thought it was good as that. I liked seeing him as that, but I also like that it took losing his family to drive him to that. And I also, something that I think everyone can appreciate is that at this point, this is him still as Ronin, but now with his family back. Because what he still is that same character, but now his family is back. So and that's part of this story. He even said, or like in the first trailer, that because he had seen what's-her-face wearing his Ronin uniform, and that's why he stepped in. So I just think it's great that, like, right here where I paused it, is that not like a Ren Fest?
It's
Do we
a
not think
it's a
that
LARP.
It's a LARP. It's a superhero LARP. Is that not what that is? Call me out if I'm
That's
wrong.
all. That's what I saw. I was like, oh, it's those
yeah,
people.
like,
That,
come on.
it's those people that are in the parks and hit each other with foam rubber swords.
Is that
Because
Echo?
that's
You mentioned the person that's in the Ronin costume. Is that Echo? Is that who that is? Do you think that's actually in the costume?
No. I think they showed that. I don't know because I haven't seen the show again. Who knows? I never claim to know before I see it, but I'm pretty sure that was his apprentice that was wearing that in the first trailer.
Because I know Echo is going to be a really major character to this series, and they're going to be doing the spinoff with her. that's going to be coming off a spin-off of the Hawkeye.
Well, everyone's getting spun off at this point.
I know,
Everything
for
I've
real.
seen, Monica's getting a spin off. Oh, she's getting everybody's getting a spin. Oh, everybody's.
Amy Hill. We got to do Amy Hill and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But at the same time, while we're saying like everybody's getting these spin-offs, we've seen, if we look at this, removed from schedule, remove untitled things removed from schedule. So like this delay announcement, while we're talking about the Hawkeye thing, it's not just delaying things, it's also, and it was untitled, but it says something about the fact that they're removing some things from their lineup.
Which is confusing because they just made that announcement not too long ago with all the
yeah,
new
they did it
stuff
at
and everything.
the what was it? It was the Disney conference. Like,
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was only like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I
so
apologize. So they're at the Rogers here. I'm sorry, I was just watching this. So they're at the Rogers musical as a family. Oh, look at us watching the musical. So there's Thor. Okay, you guys see that? Look at this. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on.
like WTF.
He's
This
looking at
is
it going, I don't
not
remember
real.
it happening exactly like that.
That reminded me so much of Logan. We were just talking about some Logan where he's just like, X-Men. Oh, we got ourselves an X-Men fan. It didn't really happen like that. Oh, that's a good segue, but we're not ready yet. Anyway, other thoughts on this Hawkeye trailer, which I would say, even though it used some repeated scenes and used the same music, still kind of got me more pumped up for this show. What do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts.
The fact that, and we discussed this in the first trailer, was in the first trailer, what's her name? Linda Gardellini was completely absent.
Sparse. Yeah, she was gone. She was not in
So
it
it
at
was
all.
like, okay, is she not going to be in it? Are they separated now, or is Hawkeye? But now that she's in it, and it's, oh, you're gonna, what's her line there? You're gonna be late, and he's like, yeah, just by like a day or two. To me, that says, okay, they're still happily engaged. He probably just took the kids to New York for the holiday. I mean, if anything, just to go, look at all the Christmas sites that are around there. And then we got to make it home for Christmas kind of thing.
And it's been 5 years apart. Maybe not for them, and a minute apart or a second apart for them. 5 years apart for him. That's,
Although
again, that brings us into more of that. We haven't really seen much of the conflict of the people coming back versus the people that were still there, other than in Spider-Man Far From Home. We saw a little bit of it but that was more of a comical thing. This will maybe be one of our first real looks at some, other than, of course, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which that was a big political
Although
thing.
I will say, because you look there and who's that guy sitting in the back? Maybe they
Kill
are
him!
Kill him. Maybe they are divorced, and he has to bring his kids. She has custody over Christmas.
Let me guess, you're gonna need
have
another
the kids
day.
home.
I guess you're gonna need another day. It's tough. Who knows?
I mean, there also could be the potential situation where maybe he's in New York because he has to meet with the government or something like that. Because think about it, he was like on super secret probation already. When the snap happened and he lost his family, like he was on house arrest.
Double secret probation, yeah.
Yeah. So and then he decided to take off anyway after his family got snapped, and he went and became Ronin. And he killed all those people and everything and whatnot. And the FBI was going after him and everything and whatnot. I would think, even though there was the snap and people came back, after the other snap and everything, that at that point there still would be legal issues he would have potentially, maybe with the government or something like that, because of his activities as Ronin. Where maybe he
absolutely, and they might even not even know that he's Ronin either, which may come into effect with, why when he finds this chick who's wearing his mask, acting as Ronin, yeah, it's not just the criminals that are going to be coming after you, but possibly the other authorities and da 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 da. Who knows? Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that is a part of it. Is someone's wearing his Ronin mask and getting blamed, and then he feels guilt for that, especially now that he's come back, he has his family back, and especially think about how he feels now after Black Widow has given up her life for him, and he's trying to make the best out of everything. And part of the thing that she didn't want him to be doing, didn't want him doing, and tried to stop him from doing, was being Ronin. And so if he sees someone else wearing that mask, he's probably going to get involved. That's very, very significant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you imagine losing your family for 4 or 5 years and then having them come back? That would be really, really devastating.
And then not knowing about it either. That's a psychological thing that like they don't know about the time. And that's why the whole Rogers thing, like he's watching this and he's
I'm thinking
like,
about my own kids. Like if my children
That's
disappeared
not-
and shit, like for like years, I mean, and then they came back, I would be really like messed up by that.
Can't do it. John Candy died.
oh my gosh, the Kenosha Kickers folk band. Oh my gosh, yeah.
The Home Alone. Oh,
Well, I'm sure they could just recreate them digitally and no one would. What have we become?
no one ever dies anymore.
Okay. All right. That's it for the Hawkeye trailer. Look forward to it this Christmas. I actually am. And I am someone who that if you've been watching MCU Mondays for any length of time, you'd probably know that I'm not someone who's like a champion of Hawkeye. I'm not like, woo, Hawkeye. I never like I'm like, yeah, but like why are you there?
Play
I
the
think
clip.
that-
This collar on. My superpower is just
Unbridled cancer. Give me a bow and arrow. I'm basically Hawkeye.
I was talking so that I could find the clip. Okay, I have hundreds of clips.
I forget that young girl's name that's playing Kate Bishop, but I'm actually really, I think that she's going to do really good. I think she's going to do really good. I really do.
That's one of the reasons I'm excited for it, honestly. But go on.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
I liked her in their companionship, even in just the first trailer. I was like, yes, this looks good. Her arrogance will work well with his like, I'm trying to get out of this business and
Keep getting
you think
dragged
you're
back.
the hottest. You think you're the hottest shit ever, and when she's like, I want to see what happens with that bell tower that comes down because
How does he he has a bow and arrow, but he keeps getting dragged back in.
I have no idea. Bumblebee. Yes! Bumblebee. Transformers.
Didn't see it.
That's what? That was the good one.
You know what? After that, I can't even remember if it was the first one or the second one.
I hear
I was
you,
like,
I
nope,
hear
I'm done
you,
with.
I hear you.
I'm done with
Bumblebee
Michael
is the
Bay.
good one. Go watch Bumblebee.
Okay.
That's why they called it Bumblebee and not Transformers. Bumblebee.
Transformers Origins Bumblebee.
Just watch Bumblebee.
With a
dude. They
Deadpool
do a whole
cameo.
origin. They go back to Cybertron. They show. Watch some
It's a good
Bumblebee,
movie,
dude.
Dave.
Watch some Bumblebee. Yeah. Oh, it's good. Oh, and the soundtrack is good. I love myself a good soundtrack. Bumblebee is good. Watch some Bumblebee.
You led me right with your Boston Legal, so I'll give.
Ooh, you've been watching some Boston Legal.
Did you see my name? I'm pointing wrong.
Denny Crane.
Oh, Denny Crane.
Penny Crane.
I was wondering what that meant. I
Just
was
say
like,
the name.
Say the name. Denny Crane.
Boston Legal, man. I don't. Again, that show is hilarious. I don't care what political aisle you walk down. I don't care who you are. That is just, and it talks about politics 100%.
Oh yeah.
But even like again, James Spader is one of the main guys, and he's like a liberal. His personal beliefs are liberal. Then he'll take up a case and be like, "Yeah, I'll completely defend this person."
Gun control.
It's like,
Or no, anti-gun control. We need more guns.
Dude, you're gonna love that shit. Anyway, Boston Legal. Okay, well now that we are half an hour in and we've only talked about the Hawkeye trailer, you guys want to start talking about X-Men?
X-Men.
Should we do? You know what?
Theme song guy.
Oh yeah!
It's MC Mondays on Geekers Now. We're talking about Marvel Geekers Now. Movies and TV and comics, news, weather, opinions, breaking news and reviews. It's Geekers Now. It's hilarious.
Now let's talk about the X-Men.
Okay.
Specifically, the first trilogy. Saw some of my favorite scenes in that intro that we had there, but let's specifically get rolling right in. The first X-Men movie. I want to hear from you on this because I love it too much. So
I watched the trailer today just to like for a reminiscent, kind of effect. And I'll tell you what, out of the three trailers, the first X-Men film's trailer is terrible.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. That's probably because of the way that they used to do trailers at that time. And it's actually a very interesting thing. Like if you look at the Star Wars trailer, for instance, it was god awful. And you look at the way they've done trailers throughout time. It's only very recently that they've actually really gotten good at doing trailers. It used to just be, "Are you ready?" or whatever. You got smoky voice, man. In a world.
X-Men
Can you get
3
your daughter back? It'll cost you an arm and a leg.
X-Men 3's trailer versus X-Men 1's trailer. We're talking about different levels and different leagues of goodness. You know what I mean?
Also,
point,
let's
X-Men
remember, when did X-Men come out?
2000.
The year 2000.
Jeez, it's been that long.
It has actually,
yeah. Yeah. And then I think X-Men 3 came out in 2005 or 2006.
It had to have been because I think I remember seeing X-Men 2, and I think that was 02.
Yeah, they didn't spend
03.
too much time
02.
between them. That is something that I will appreciate about them is they had lead-ups to the next one. It feels like they were only looking at it as possibly like a trilogy. Like when we got the X-Men, other people are doing Spider-Man trilogies and such. Hey, Blade did its thing. We have a potential here. And now, for the first time, computer graphics are just getting where we can make something like this happen. And you saw hints in the first X-Men about what was going to come later. You had hints from Jean Grey about her powers. It was very subtle in the first, when I was rewatching them, very subtle in the first one, much more obvious in the second one, and then came to completion in the third one. But also at the same time as they were doing the third one, they realized, oh, we can not just stop here. We can do anything we want. And then things went completely off the rails, and who knows what happened there. But within the first three, at least, they were very much sticking to a certain continuity, a certain belief. And this is kind of like, if you're looking at it in the multiverse, this is a multiverse world where just the X-Men exists. Captain America is not there. Iron Man is not there. This is just a world with the X-Men. And that was kind of cool. And the people that they got to play the characters. Come on, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen. Come on. That bromance it's one of the best things that bro hate because they're actually friends, and at the same time in the thing they're supposed to be friends but also hate each other. I cannot be the only one here that's like, this is awesome.
And something else too, and I think this is what helped make it a lot better was you were the X-Men cartoon, the Fox TV show
The
had run
90s,
from
like the 80s, 90s.
it was like 92 to 97. So you're only 3 years past. You know that's still fresh in people's minds. People are still like, oh, and plus that same era. Who else? What else is going on? Oh, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Patrick Stewart's there, and I remember in a time before computers and the internet and everything else, where no, actually we had what was it? It was like we had Prodigy, and so it was like news groups, kind of like news groups and chat rooms and stuff like that. You get on and you talk to people, and Patrick Stewart was. They were like everybody said they better cast Patrick Stewart because he's the only one who can play Xavier.
Yeah, and it was really, I think, great to see. And again, I just rewatched these and I looked at how, and we'll get into probably next week or at some point, we're going to talk about the other X-Men movies that came out later, like First Class and Days of Future Past and how that related, and the other Wolverine movies. Like, my goodness, they did a whole lot with very little in comparison. But specifically in this, you had Ian McKellen playing Magneto, and my goodness, I'm watching him playing this guy, and I'm like, this is the guy I love as Gandalf. yeah, it is, because he's got that same. It's just like the other side of the coin. Like Gandalf is a good guy with like the same kind of like convictions and drive as Magneto, who from the other side, again, you remember how the first X-Men movie started?
It was the Holocaust scene.
1944. Yeah, pulling those gates away. But also, this is one of the beautiful things, absolutely beautiful about those movies. The first one, after they had gone through that, which is kind of a prequel, or not a prequel so much as not a. The beginning of that movie is kind of like a lead up into what we're getting into. Mutants exist. Magneto discovered his powers here. But when they actually get into it, it starts at this Senate conference or some sort of conference where Jean Grey is talking to mutants to a bunch of people. And then everyone's leaving. And then you have Eric Lyncher, aka Magneto, talk to Professor X. And what are you looking for in there, Charles? Hope. How does it end? With Magneto in a prison and Professor X sitting there talking to him says, and it's the opposite. It's like, what are you looking for? It's like, still looking for hope. How are you, Charles? And they end that in the prison, in the plastic prison. Magneto asks, what would happen if someone were to attack that school of yours? And Professor X says, it would suck for them. What happens in the next movie? Okay, you have literally, it moves on straight from there. It's a straight progression. And that's, again, okay, look, let's go back to the first X-Men movie. It ends where it began. It began with Professor X starting to Magneto. I'll always be there, Charles. And it ends with them. It ends where it began. The second movie does the same thing. It starts in the White House with the awesome Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner. Come on. Anyone else? Does anyone else love that scene as much as me?
It's a good scene, and I love Alan Cumming. Yeah,
I would almost call it my favorite scene of all the X-Men movies, but I'd have to give that honor to the Quicksilver scene.
Yeah,
where he was walking around flicking the bullets, and he's listening to his headphones and moving things around.
But you know what you just done?
I know.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's a boner alert.
Boner alert. I do know one thing that upset a lot of people about these movies was the fact that Gambit was not in them.
Ah!
I mean, that was a fan favorite. I'm guessing Chris was a fan too because
I love Gambit.
he's having heart palpitations over there.
I don't know yet.
Constantly.
And they didn't do a very good job with Rogue. They
No.
at all.
they didn't. That's biggest complaint.
I mean, they didn't even really give her the power she had in the comics. Really,
Well,
like she didn't have.
I can talk about because she got those comics from grabbing Captain Marvel and having an extended contact with meant she got levitation and like super strength permanently, whereas usually she just gets temporary powers. And so they couldn't do that. They couldn't at the time because that was Fox and Captain Marvel was,
Maybe that's why they made her younger, just to say, hey, she's still young. She hasn't met Captain Marvel yet.
But even still, even if you're not going to give her at the end of the trilogy, she took the cure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she took, and then look, I get it. Again, consider it an alternate multiverse world where just the X-Men exists, and that's what happened there. But even still, I don't like her from the beginning. She wasn't rogue enough. She wasn't. We'll
get real rogue.
I liked her. I liked what the actor did. I enjoyed what they did with her, but I didn't. I wish that she could have done more.
I think Marvel Studios will give us Rogue. Chris, I do. I think we'll get Rogue eventually from Marvel Studios. I really think we're going to get a real Rogue.
Yeah. Eventually. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for that. I mean, they're talking about the Miss Marvel stuff. They're, everything that is going forward with. There's a lot of potential there, but I just think, especially and they even called Days of Future Past, there's a Rogue cut, is what they called it. It's basically the Snyder cut, and we'll probably talk about that another time.
I think I've got that one.
If you don't, I'll make sure you do, because I want to go full in depth on that, but we're going to have to talk about First Class and other stuff beyond that. Let's talk about, again, the first X-Men. Like that middle claw?
Yes. That was one of the two greatest scenes in this movie. That one and the one where he said,
the dialogue.
You guys go out dressed up like this? He goes, well, would you rather have yellow spandex?
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? Yeah. The dialogue within this movie, I thought, was really good. Really good. You know what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else. Cow! And boom, Ray Park, aka Darth Maul, gets blown off into oblivion. And you know when I remembered he was Ray Park? When he first, I think he kicked Storm down a elevator shaft, and then he takes the bar out that was holding it, and then he goes, and he spins it behind his back, and I was like, yeah, that's Ray Park. I mean, Darth Maul. I mean, Toad. The relationship between Wolverine and Cyborg was very good.
Cyclops.
Cyborg.
I liked it.
Yeah, Cyclops.
That's DC, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there was
I liked it when the scene with Mystique, she was impersonating everybody, and then Logan kind of takes care of her for a little bit, and then he comes back into the room, and Storm and Cyclops, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute, it's me. And Cyclops,
how do I know it's actually you?
Prove it. Yeah, prove it. He goes, you're a dick.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. How do I know it's really you? You're a dick. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's nice to see the progression when you look at like X-Men 1 to like X-Men 3 with with Wolverine, with with Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. Just his voice is even different Like, because he was also aging and like growing, like getting older at the same time in real time.
Logan doesn't age.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, he sounds different by X-Men 3. Like he's more suited to the role. He's like learned.
Oh yeah, I would say so. Also in X-Men 2, and yeah, there's a progression. X-Men 2 though is one of my absolute favorites. I put a lot into that. I made a Logan music video. It's on the GNN page, but there's a lot in that I love. That they're like, because he pretends to be their substitute teacher, and they show up at Iceman or Bobby Drake's house. They don't know that he's even a mutant, and they're like, "What does he teach?" And he goes, "He just looks at his art," and he's like, "What?" It's like, because and that's kind of just like the humor that works. It works within a film like this. It's not misplaced humor. It's humor that fits with the characters.
Humor. It's very subtle. It's not like humor, haha, where you're laughing, on the floor or whatever. It's very subtle humor.
It's funnier than the friggin' humor in the Eternals trailers. Like, it's a lot better, as far as I'm concerned.
More natural.
The humor in the Eternals trailers, those big joke moments they have in the Eternals trailers, just doesn't do anything for me, really. But that not that I'm trying to poo-poo the Eternals.
Oops.
Oh, we're back on Hawkeye.
I didn't mean to do that.
I was like, what's the relevance?
No, there was none. That was more relevant.
Cyclops was in, or not Cyclops.
And that was one of the another great line from the original Cyclops.
Not Cyclops.
There's someone in here. Who? I don't know. Where are they? I don't know. Keep your eye out. He doesn't say keep an eye out. He says keep your eye out to Cyclops. It's so good, that like personal like rift that they make.
Colossus was in the second.
Yeah.
He's in the second one, and he's in the third one.
Yeah.
And he helps defend the place, but he's not your Russian Cyclops. Or
he's not your Deadpool Cyclops.
Right.
Yeah.
Not Cyclops. Colossus. He's not your
Colossus.
Yeah, I know. They all start with C, but it's not even, one's a soft C, one's a hard C. Why are we having this? Anyway. Colossus, yeah, in X2 and X-Men 3 Last Stand, he is not the typical Russian, Deadpool Colossus. He is just a student that is a little more advanced in age than the rest of them, and that's kind of how in the original like trilogy of the X-Men movies, you have like Storm, Jean, Cyclops. They are the top tier team. They've been students. In X2, Colossus is still technically like a student, and he helps save a lot of the other students from being captured when they get raided. Because that's X2. That's another reason why I love this movie. Great storyline. William Stryker coming in, all the stuff that Wolverine can't remember, and then he goes to confront Magneto again, and then you have Magneto's break out of his plastic prison. I think that's a big favorite for anyone who's.
That was amazing. That was so cleverly done. I love the way that you had Mystique go and meet one of the guards at the bar, and she injected him with just microscopic iron tablets, and he's like, "Oh, there's something different about you," because he knew it was there.
He could sense it.
And then when he made those little pedestals and he walked across I was like,
when he took the limited amount of iron that he'd been able to take out of that guy that's that guy dying. That's the iron being ripped from his body. And I'm going to talk about the dialogue, because that's really something that these movies have. And I was noticing this. Not only do they have limited amount of use compared to today of CGI. You know what I mean? Do they use CGI? Absolutely they do, 100%. But they know that they have a limited amount. It's the year 2003. We don't have unlimited CGI to use.
They thought they did
So-
with the Matrix movies.
Why do you think everyone in the X-Men is wearing like the black leather Matrix garb? But again, oh my gosh, you almost made me miss it. There we go. Never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you. He said to the guy he just killed. Again, that's one of the best lines from the first X-Men, is when Magneto is explaining his plans. Once they've gotten up in the Statue of Liberty, they're in the head of the Statue of Liberty. They haven't gotten up to the actual torch yet, because that's where the whole thing's going down. But Magneto shuts the entire team down in the head of the Statue of Liberty. And when he's doing that, I think Scott says something like, Storm, why don't you just hit him with a lightning bolt? And he goes, and Magneto goes, yes, a lightning bolt into a giant copper conductor. And I thought you all lived in a school. Boom. And he just hits him with lines like that all the time. That's really good. I appreciate things like that. Never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you. I'm sorry, did you just tough talk that dead body? Yes! And then he wrecks the place with the iron. He took it of that guy's blood. Now, I guess we'd have to go on to the next movie and talk about how he moved the entire Golden Gate Bridge. And it's like, if you could do that, how did you not?
How'd you not reach out of the prison and find something?
Because the writers needed it to. I'm sorry. We've had
Because
much bigger problems.
We
lately.
needed the movie to happen.
Thank you very much. Speaking of the third movie,
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
best line from the movie. I'm
That's
probably
friggin'
going to play
awesome.
that 5 more times.
Deadpool did it better.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
I did like Deadpool. They did. You know,
They
but
did
Deadpool's
Juggernaut
Deadpool.
justice.
This was.
Isn't that guy's name Vinnie Jones?
Oh, I love Vinnie Jones. My
Yeah.
baby takes the morning train. Now you probably won't get that. Okay, so in Eurotrip, he plays a soccer hooligan, and he confronts these. Okay, that's not worth it. Yeah, no, that's Vinnie Jones. He's fantastic. He's played a lot of different parts, and I think he's great in that role. I think out of the 3 X-Men movies, the original trilogy, that's probably the third one is the most contentious. Am I wrong on that? What do you guys think?
I had issues with the third movie.
I had tons of issues with the third movie. I had issues with most of the third movie. When you sit there and when okay, so you had them all bring their little mutant army, and Magneto shows up and he says, "I'm here to lead you," blah blah blah. And they say, "Well, everyone here is a class 3 mutant or better." Yeah, it's this porcupine guy.
No, they never said that. They didn't say that. He went to a meeting and he made a speech at a public meeting, and the person that ran up to him, which I didn't like her, by the way, and the porcupine guy, the person that said that said, "There's no one here who's above a class 3 other than you two." And she pointed at Magneto and Pyro.
Okay.
They said, "Here, there's no one who's above that other than you two." So,
Well,
and that's why those were all just other pawns.
The
And that's what I like about that is when you see Magneto setting. That's why the pawns go first.
but then also too, the other issue I had: why does every mutant have to be some kind of deranged emo kid?
Oh, well,
They-
that
they-
was for
They all had it. They,
entirely
the
different
hair and the goth clothes and everything else. And I'm like,
we're trying to make a point about othering.
I guess.
Actually, those movies actually to a very specific point. Now that one I thought went ridiculous to, you have to get a mark if you're a. They actually were like everyone who's a mutant is supposed to get a tattoo that shows that you're like a part of the tattoo, and then but also those were the extremists. You also had plenty of people who were on the picket lines who were either against it or for the cure, and there were mutants and non-mutants on both sides of that. So there's your like regular-ish people who were just whatever it, and then and naturally the mutants are more concerned about it because hey, they're going to cure you. What if you don't want to be cured? What if you don't consider, and that's an interesting thing to bring up, and that's kind of the point of the X-Men, is to bring that kind of thing up. And Rogue, again, in that took the cure so that she could be with
Bobby.
I think Bobby, which is hilarious now because he's gay or bi. I don't know what he is now. Iceman. Yeah. And Elliot, Elliot Page played
oh my God.
Kitty in that movie.
Right.
And in the movie before
And
that,
then-
Kitty Page was played by someone else. In the movie before that, Kitty was played by someone else. But in this one, they needed someone who was a recognizable name. So they had Ellen Page play Kitty.
She did it. He or she did it again for
oh yeah,
Future
Days of
Past.
Future Past.
Yeah.
And now it's Elliot. I don't know how you refer to
They them.
They.
Don't you know who I am?
That one did it. And she's in the past, future, thens of future. She's in days of those past, future days. Looking forward to talking about that one, by the way. And that's kind of how it all connects. It's weird that they made the entire X-Men continuity kind of connect through Wolverine, at least the one that existed through Fox. The X-Men, they're kind of like, this is our connector guy. And
Well, he was
Days of Future Past.
He was in every movie, wasn't he?
Not everyone. I know he was in First Class Apocalypse because they like broke him out. I don't
Phoenix?
think he was in Dark Phoenix.
Oh, I saw that one like once, and I wanted my money back.
He's not in it. No.
Well, you shouldn't. Well, I mean, you should want your money. No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like, I made that music video I made about Wolverine, Logan. It's very much. I used every single movie he was in, and that's pretty much every one. The only one I didn't use was, I think, that Apocalypse movie. But I mean, like, he's in Days of Future Past. He's the next one. 1, 2, 3. He has like that flip him off part in X-Men First Class.
It's just a cameo.
Yeah, but he's
He's
still
they
in it.
him. He's in a bar.
It connects.
It's all one world. See,
One world.
Now I need somebody to explain something to me because I watched this last night, the third movie, and it's when Patrick and Ian go to Jean Grey's house when she's very young, and well, one, the de-aging was god awful. And two, how the hell is Charles walking?
Well, because
at that age? Because McAvoy, I mean,
you can't start comparing the First Class stuff to the stuff that came out then. You can't do it. That's a different timeline. Think of it as
I was gonna
timeline.
say, where's the Deadpool line?
Think of it as a different timeline.
Which Professor X, Stewart or McAvoy? These timelines have me all confused.
Exactly,
there you go.
when he's getting dragged away. Yeah. And they try and connect him. They try and make him. And I actually we'll get to First Class at some point. I know we're going to be talking about that because I want to talk more about Nightcrawler and his father, Azazel, and his mother, Mystique. But look, for right now, we're just talking about the first three. And yeah, in the third one, they do some de-aging because they didn't think past that. You know what? They were basically like, why do you think they had Rogue take the cure? They weren't thinking, let's keep this going.
They were thinking, we've made our trilogy.
We just did a trilogy. Yeah. That's why they killed him. But they still, granted, had...
Did they?
Yes! And that's why they still had, because we like money, let's put some seeds of shit in some shit and put Professor X's head in a dead guy or a guy that never actually, because that's something they bring up at the beginning. Is it ethical? This man was born brain dead. And
well,
now he's just a brain dead body. But he puts his brain at the end of it. He wakes up, but the next time you see him is in Wolverine, and he's still in his body. So the thing that you should take away from it is, forget about that.
Well, hey, what about at the end of X-Men 3? He's buried. He's dead. They go to his grave.
He transferred his consciousness.
He's in Logan though, and he still can't walk.
Hey, okay, then I'll remember this specific scene from Logan where he picks up the X-Men comics and goes, I think we got an X-Men fan here. That's not how it happened, kid.
The whole Dark Phoenix deal in X-Men 3 was totally convoluted. It didn't make any sense.
You cannot take the X-Men and just try and put it into a little... It's a lot. It's big. And it's connected purely... The only way it's even conceivably connected is Wolverine. And even that's tenuous. It's tenuous.
And I really hated his hair and mutton chops. Hated. I know they were trying to make him look like the comics, but...
Well, then you hated his look.
I was thinking about shaving my beard like that.
Well, I mean,
you're gonna hate me too.
I'm thinking about it too. No, I'm definitely gonna do it. When I shave this, because it's inevitable. It's unless I do a Gandalf, but no, I'm gonna do stages. I'm definitely gonna give me some Wolverine mutton chops, baby. I mean, he's one of the best characters. Even in the beginning, they're like, he could be very much well older than you, Professor X. And that's why they got this. And I would say a lot of franchises fell into like prequel fatigue type thing, or like too much nonsense in the prequels. Like, for instance, X-Men Origins, not great. There are good parts of it, but not great. Like, for instance, oh, that's how he got that coat that he has. Well, just what I always wanted to know. Okay, like, that's not why we're here. We're here because okay. But this, again, right here, X-Men 2. That's why they call me Bad Company. And that's X3 right there. Grow those back.
That was a good one.
And Beast. We didn't even talk about Beast.
Yeah.
In X3. Okay. We can get to Beast in X2 or whatever. I'll pause it. Boom. How about that?
I think I like the Beast in the prequels better.
I think I did too.
I really enjoyed... What do you think, Jeff?
Like I said, I mean, the Beast character in the first X-Men films was okay, I guess. But I mean, the way that they did the Dark Phoenix deal in X-Men 3 just made no sense. Like, it wasn't exactly comic book accurate really at all. You know, and how they showed her as the Dark Phoenix, like, they didn't really.
Oh, it's terrible.
It wasn't. They didn't give her the same kind of power level that she really had in the comics when she was Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah. And
Kelsey-
if you
Kelsey
think of her,
Grammer-
if you look at her
Yeah.
actually as Dark Phoenix, you're like, oh, well, that's where they got the idea for zombie Scarlet Witch. That's the exact same. Okay. Well, you just give her red eyes. That's okay. But go on,
Dude,
David. You're about to
Chris,
say-
Zombie Scarlet Witch is freaking awesome, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I have nothing against her. I'm just saying, like, clearly they were like, well, you know what? The one thing we can take away, other than David, I think you're about to say something.
Yeah, I think Kelsey Grammer had the right voice for Beast. He just
Yes.
didn't look like Beast. And being that, like you said, they steered away from CGI as much as possible, and they basically did his hair up and painted him blue. It didn't. It's what was throwing me.
I do want to say that they did the best non-superhero landings. Hell, not a superhero landing. Not a superhero landing. Not a superhero landing. Don't ever do that again. Well, we won't. Don't worry. Even Wolverine, he comes in a second later and he's like, uses his claws and he lands on his feet. Superhero landing came about the time as Captain America. Actually, I'll say Iron Man.
It was Iron Man. It was the first time.
It was Iron Man. Yeah. You're going to get me on that.
But wait a minute. In the timeline, Captain America happened first. So
I will be talking for myself. This is an open and shut case, and anybody who can't see that is a savage and an idiot.
David, I see where you're coming from. Civility, people. All right. This is about tolerance. Don't ever do that again. I do think also the beginning scene of the third X-Men is heartbreaking and intense and relevant then now to not to people who are mutants, but people who, hey, has your family ever looked at you like you're a piece of shit just because of what you are? Remember what I'm talking about? One of that first scenes where the kid is trying to literally cut the wings off of his back because he doesn't want his dad, because his dad hates mutants and he just went through puberty. That's when it hits him. And he's trying to literally cut the wings off his back, and he's shoving all these bloody towels and like knives into a box as his dad's trying to get in. And then he's supposed to be the first one that goes through the through the injection once they get the cure, and he breaks away from that, and people are like, this guy. And then at the end of the movie, he ends up saving his dad from being killed by the other mutants who are trying to kill him because of his extreme. And it's like, that's good stuff. That's quality stuff. Like, I know there are many complaints to be had about the third movie. I have them myself. But that's good stuff. What do you think about Archangel? I mean, he didn't do anything else in that film.
I want to see Archangel. I want to see them do Archangel with Apocalypse and everything. Like, I want him to actually like become Archangel in the MCU when they do the X-Men.
So I guess whenever we talk about the Apocalypse movie, we can talk a little bit more about that and how they kind of got that wrong there. They got so much wrong in this other X-Men. Okay, let's talk about what they got right in these movies. Mystique. Let's talk about Mystique. Anybody tell me about Mystique?
It was Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
She's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. She was amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. In every movie.
She may have been better
as
than
Mystique.
She may have been better than what's her name?
Jennifer Lawrence. 100% better.
100 times, yeah.
1,000% better. And I get what they were trying to do with Jennifer Lawrence to a point. But I know for a fact, she's talked about it, Jennifer Lawrence. I didn't like doing all the makeup. I was like, don't take that.
Don't
role.
do the movie.
Don't do that. Don't be a because the Mystique dude. Okay. First movie, X-Men, when she's fighting Wolverine, and then like she gets her own claws cut off. Oh, now you know who's who. But then they're fighting for a little bit. She actually holds her own against him because she's a skilled enough fighter to like hold his, claws at bay. And then she inverts herself, and there's like a pole, and she climbs up it, but with like the rest of her body above her. She climbs up. It's like, whoa! And then there's like this. That's Mystique. That's actually mysterious and whoa. And then the second one, you never know who she is or where she's going to be. Maybe you can tell from the eyes, but that's just because they're letting the audience know. But then she's doing all kinds of stuff. She's taking up. She's the one that injects the guard again that helps get Magneto freed. And then they break into the super secret base that no one can get. William Stryker's base. They're like, we'll send Wolverine in because they know they'll let Wolverine in. And Magneto's like, I'm not willing to take that chance. We're going to send a Mystique. Mystique goes in looking like Wolverine. Stryker figures it out immediately. But guess what? That's not enough because she disables every guard around her, then goes sliding through doors that are closing, gives them the finger on the way through as herself, then goes into the control room as William Stryker's like, there's a metamorph on the base. Got to keep a lookout. And then disables both of them because she's like, yes. That's how you do it. You pretend to be someone else, and then you knock them out. And then she closes the door to that. And as William Stryker gives William Stryker as he's trying to get up. How do we get in there? You control everything from there. That's why the doors are so thick. And then she lets in all the other mutants because that's Mystique. And
that's what she does.
Wonderfully,
infiltration.
In the third movie, she dives in front of a guard who's shooting at Magneto with the cure gun. She takes the cure. She gets hit with the cure. Magneto abandons her. And as they're leaving, he says, such a shame. She was so beautiful. And she just transformed into a hot-ass naked lady on the ground, okay? AKA her regular form, but he's like, you know what? She was beautiful before when she was a mutant, when she was herself. And Mystique, you would have thought I was talking about Sam Rockwell. But no, do you disagree? Do you agree, disagree? What do you think about Mystique versus, Mystique first trilogy versus Jennifer Lawrence?
The casting was good. The casting was really good for the first three X-Men films. I mean, if you look at that time period of film and like who they chose to play the characters and everything, I think they did a really great job.
So who would you have rather played Mystique in the second trilogy?
That's tough.
Not a star.
Yeah. Somebody who's, Rebecca Romijn was.
She wasn't a film.
She wasn't like an A-lister,
household name. Yeah,
right.
So, Jennifer Lawrence was like, we're using her as this character because Hunger Games. People know her from this. Well, she doesn't want to wear all the makeup.
I think even so far as Hugh Jackman, when they announced Hugh Jackman, people were like, okay, who? I mean, now he's
back then, yeah.
Now he's a household name.
Because of
this X-Men.
Oh yeah, huge jacked man.
He's too tall to be Wolverine.
Same thing with all of them. James Marsden really didn't have much of a career, I think, until he really did X-Men. Halle Berry was Storm. And that's like
she was part of it. I think people had known her. I think she had done.
She did Swordfish
and some other stuff. Yeah,
she did the first she did Swordfish with. Actually, no, she might have done that afterwards.
Didn't she do Monster Ball? Monster Ball before that.
Monster.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yes,
No.
Monster was before that. But a lot of the appeal there was, Ian McKellen,
Ian
and
McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
which
Those were
is
the big names.
boom. And that's why you saw a little bit less of them in the later ones, or at least the third one. But
You
even
know-
then, you see the X-Men movies had the end credit scene before there was before they literally did it before the credits, because you're not supposed. Why would you be showing stuff during the anyway? But like they had him move that after he'd been cured, Magneto. He moved that thing at the very end, and that's the last thing you saw for the credits. So like they were doing that kind of thing. David, you were saying something?
I was saying he had brought up James Marsden, and I was looking at it, and I was like, we watched Sonic the Hedgehog the other day.
Sonic the Hedgehog. There you go.
And he was in it, and I was like, I know that guy. I know I can't place him, but I know him. He's there somewhere. And
that's Shades.
I couldn't figure it out. And I called my brother. I'm like, who is that? It's Cyclops, you ding dong.
Cyclops.
Oh.
Hey, your bike's out of gas. Whoops, throws in the keys. And fill it up. Throw the keys back. And that is one thing I'll say about the original X-Men movies. They were all made before the first trilogy, maybe before before Iron Man. I don't know.
Yeah, because the first one was 2000, 2002.
Yeah, 2000, 2002.
No, 2003 for the
and
second
then,
one.
Yeah, but still, I remember those, and I was watching them, and I'm looking at it, and I really do appreciate, and maybe this is just me, because I am a psychopath, but I see these practical effects in use, like when Magneto is first going at that gate and you see the metal coming at him. That's not 3D effects. You can tell where the 3D effects are, okay, or like where the CGI comes down. Like when you see the plane come in and land, it's like, there you go, that's some straight up CGI. But even when Pyro's blasting some people, I'm like, damn. The craziest thing I remember about Pyro blasting people is that people would get up after it. I'm like, okay, you just got hit with a fireball? And I loved it. I loved it because one of the guy that shoots Wolverine in the head, right? Mm-hmm. Wolverine gets knocked in the dome and he goes down. And then everybody else gets down on their hands and knees because the cops are here. They're like, look out, we're going to take you down. And Pyro's like, you know those mutants, those dangerous mutants you hear about? I'm the worst one. And frankly, at that point, I don't know, how did the cops not, if you're willing to take that other guy out, he's just, okay. But whatever, they don't. And he shoots a fireball at these cops and starts lighting up different, and things are blowing up in flames. But the first thing he does is shoot a flaming blast at the cop that shot Wolverine in the head. And the guy gets blown off of the porch and he goes down. And then later, once they're all leaving, the jet has landed, they're about to go away. Wolverine has gotten up by this point. He's walking away. And that cop stands up over the hedge and he's like, and then he sees Wolverine. Wolverine looks at him. He's like, really? You gonna try that again? And the guy's like, and he doesn't try shooting again. It's like, and I'm just sitting here this time watching you going, how is this man alive? How are you not crispy? You just got well done, brother.
It's the G.I. Joe syndrome. Nobody dies.
Yeah,
everybody parachutes out.
But then they're getting shoved out. But that's literally the thing. It was like, okay, that's what I attributed to immediately. But I was like, in real life, dude, or like in anything, or in even a different movie. Okay, it's like, okay, that's how you manage that PG-13 thing. You had this guy showed up with like
singed clothing,
black. Yeah. Oh, it looks like you scrubbed some charcoal on your arms there, brother. Hey, you should be extra crispy right now, like on fire still. You got hit with a fireball, pure fire with enough force to throw you off of a. He's lightly singed. Oof. I don't actually know how dangerous this pyro guy is anymore. I'm not so sure. I liked the humor of it, though. Again, when he sees Wolverine, and Wolverine's just like... And the guy's like... Ah. But you could have shot any of the other of them. They'd be dead. Like, it's okay if you shoot Wolverine, because he'll be fine for the movie. But God forbid, like, again, the other people did much more threatening things, and what are you gonna do?
And let's I mean, honestly, let's not forget all three of these X-Men. These movies, in my opinion, set the stage for the modern superhero movie that exists as it is today. And that's because nothing else had
Along
been...
with Spider-Man.
Well, and Spider-Man came out in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
First X-Men was 2000. So
other people argue Blade and stuff before that. That might have saved Marvel. That might have done this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, I look at X-Men as really a well-executed... I mean, dude, think about the first X-Men film after that cage fight where he pulls out the claws for the first time, and you see that for the first time. It's beautiful.
Does it hurt every time?
It's really well done, though, too. Let's see if I can find it right here. Yeah. Okay. I got it. And again, this is part of that wonderful Bad Company Wolverine Logan tribute. Yes, yes, yes. This part right here is part of the X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, yes, there's terrible parts in it. But yes, they actually do a really good part on other stuff. This was one of the good parts. Boom. But right here, and Bad Company. Look, that. Ooh. That was in the first movie. That was in the year 2000. That was practical effects for the most part.
It's beautiful.
Up to the... And then this. Get him! Not in my bar, punk. And look at the clothes that they're wearing. This is actually, we're going to do a quick color theory study right here. We can see the owner of the bar wearing the very clear red and blue. That's supposed to be your hero. We also have the other guy, and this is the guy that's supposed to be your enemy, whatever. He's kind of wearing some blue there, you can see, and some red underneath. But look at that underneath there. He's wearing blue and red, but that's underneath his, outsider clothing. But he's your hero.
I wonder where he got that jacket.
Let's find out. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Are you an alien? Well, son, I think you got a condition. And that's actually from the first Avengers movie, talking about the Hulk, but still.
Honestly, too, the first X-Men movie did right by Sabretooth. I think better than. I like Liv Schreiber. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
but
he does good in the Goon movie. Yeah. But go on. Yeah.
But he's not Sabretooth.
Not like that first guy would. Yeah.
Scream for me.
I didn't like that Sabretooth.
You still owe me a scream.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that they killed him.
Did they kill him? I guess he never came back.
Or he never came back for the second one, I don't think.
Yeah, we never really saw him again. But he is...
Taylor Maine, I think was his name.
Yeah.
I think people were pissed that they didn't bring him back for the X-Men Origins things, but he's... I don't know. He's probably just as well.
Yeah, I like the other guy better.
You would.
Probably got to
he
see
just
more
looks
of
better,
him.
doesn't he? If that's what it is.
Well, no, he acted. Well, he had more to do. Let's be honest. It was.
And maybe that's it, because this guy hardly said anything.
He was just a side. He was what he needed to be. He was a bad guy's sidekick. He was the muscle for the bad guys.
And just muscle, and it was wonderful. Like, for instance, in the first X-Men, where Senator Kelly turns into a jellyfish, and then, who would believe you now that you're one of us? And he leaves Sabretooth to pull the guy back up, and then he can't because he just slips right from between his fingers because he's a jellyfish man now, and he tries to grab his sleeve, and then the sleeve rips, and then he just falls to his death. And then Sabretooth turns around with just the cloth, and Magneto's like, ugh. And he walks through the bent bars that he bent for them to both walk into the cage, and then whoosh, bends them back into place. So Sabretooth is stuck in there now, and he roars. Yeah, of course he does, because he's pissed. But what are you gonna do? That's who you've aligned yourself with. If you were really that principled, if you were really that magnanimous, if you were really that much of a great guy, that's what Wolverine says, it'd be you up in that chair. It'd be you up in that machine, not Rogue. And that's the whole first movie. Fantastic. Thoughts? First X-Men movies. You didn't... Well, maybe that's good. Maybe that's really excellent casting. I hated this person. I'll never like them, and they're terrible.
Well, I didn't hate him. I just didn't like that Sabretooth. I preferred the one from the sequel or the.
Did you? So you're fine with him, but if you could have had it be Liev Schreiber, you'd have preferred that.
The trailer for X-Men 1 is freaking terrible. It's horrible.
I believe
it. It's like meme worthy.
I think you got to watch more trailers from that time period. Just saying, just throwing it out there, because I'm a person that's done some study into trailers over time, and in that time period, it's a lot of here's a word coming up, X-Men, they're explosion, and now the smoky voice man is coming in to tell you, well, are you ready for the X-Men?
I've seen better TikTok videos than that trailer.
Well, of course you have. Do you have any idea how much technology has improved?
Watch the original Star Wars trailer.
I'm just saying, look, you can't blame these. Yes, Debbie, you're absolutely correct. Check out the original Star Wars trailer. It's fucking pathetic.
Go watch. I remember the first Alien movie was pretty piss poor.
Go look at them. No, I'm not even kidding. Look at any trailer for the original when it came out. That's why I make modern trailers for things every once in a while. I'm like, well, this would be much better, because I go back and I'll look at the thing when it came out, and I was like, whew, because everything was different 20, 30 years ago. There was no internet. There was no, you instantly know about it. Let's talk about it. Let's react to it right now. It just came out. Let's react to it on screen. No, there was just, here's a thing that we are going to try and show at the Super Bowl to maybe get people to come and see our movie event. It's an entirely different scenario. Anyway. Anybody else have anything else? What do we got on the X-Men trilogy?
I liked it overall. I mean,
I think it's great.
Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Hugh Jackman. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with that.
The third one had
issues,
hiccups, but I think, again, if you consider it as just a universe where just the X-Men exists and not anything else, like anything else Marvel, it's just the X-Men. I think they did a pretty good job, especially for those first three. I certainly enjoyed them. They're some of my favorites. I like what they did. Jeff?
Yeah, you got to be realistic about it. I mean, of course, like, you got to take a kind of have a grain of salt kind of situation with it, where it's like, okay, well, we're in this, you know, reality now that where we're at in, you know, 2021 going into 2022, where what like Marvel Studios has done, for instance, with like, you know, with CGI and digital effects and stuff like that in some of the Avengers films has been like unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, and you compare that to like what was going on and what they were capable of digitally and from a special effects CGI standpoint in 1999, the year 2000, like, you know, it's like a different friggin' universe, you know, like, so yeah, I mean, I think that, I can see how maybe if you're like a younger person, if you're like my daughter's age, I can see how like it might be hard to get kids like, you know, that are teenagers now to sit down and watch these X-Men films nowadays, you know what I mean, and get them to and be into them, you know, or really enjoy them maybe. Like I don't know. Because I think that the attention spans now are different, and I think that like the kids nowadays are so used to like Marvel Studios and what they've seen with that with Snyder Cut, you know, and everything, and like at that point, I don't think that like the original X-Men films would visually do it for like younger kids these days.
I would hope that they would, because I would hope that they could. That's a very interesting point. I like that you brought that up. But also, you could say the same thing about Star Wars. Like, oh, well,
and
the original cut of Star Wars, well, they're not going to be interested in it because it doesn't have the. But is the story? What are you here for? Are you just here for the shiny special effects, or are you actually invested in the story? And that's a wonderful. I really like that you brought that up, David. I think you were about to say something.
No, you were going right where I was going with the Star Wars. So yeah,
I think it's really that's one of the reasons why I really like to try to make an effort to put together rosters. Like the other day on the Podcast of Champions, which I'll shout out for them. I guest on the Podcast of Champions every week. They're out of sakar.freeforums.net. That's like their home base.
Sakar.
And by joining Sakar, that's where how you can become a champion, and you can join the Podcast of Champions. So whatever. That's where I got True Knowledge from, because I needed to come up with a screen name for Sakar. So that's where I got True Knowledge. So anyways, bottom line, I did a show, I moderated over there a couple weeks ago, and I put together a show of like all guests and stuff that I brought to Sakar on my own. And I had like this really diverse roster where I had like a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 25-year-old, me in my late 30s, I had people that were like, in their 50s, you know what I mean? Like 60 years old. I like to have that kind of diversity with like, with generations and stuff like that, if possible,
And
it's interesting.
How does that relate to, did you find that had an impact on things? Okay. So we have like things that came out a long time ago. The graphics might not be great, but do you take that into consideration when you're watching something new? Like that's kind of what we're talking about. So
no, I just wanted to point out that like when it comes to the fandom in general, when it comes to like the MCU, for instance, you know what I mean? Since like, or Marvel, I think it's interesting to hear to get the different contributions from people from different age ranges, just because it's fun. I think it's like, it's interesting to see.
Then I guess I'll ask, in relation to that, did you find that you had a lot of conflict? Did you have the older age ranges being mad at that, like, here's the thing that I noticed, that my personal thing is, I can watch something from like, the original Star Wars, the unedited, and watch it and appreciate, wow, they were able to do that then. A lot of people nowadays would watch something like that and just be like, "This is terrible.
This looks
These
terrible.
graphics suck."
Yeah.
So, do you feel that there is? I guess my question is, and I will probably leave on this because we're almost done here anyway. But do you think do graphics make it up? Will graphics do? Will that do it? If you have good enough graphics, you're fine. Doesn't matter about the story.
No, I don't think so. I think that I don't believe in that statement. I think that when I did that show that I moderated, we had some varying opinions. We were doing like a what if episode review and like a phase 4, phase 5 preview in the MCU. And there were definitely people in the group that hated the what if episode of different ages, and then there were people who loved it. I think it was which episode was it? I think it was the episode 7, where Party Thor. I didn't care for that episode. I'll be honest with you. Not that I want to try to get too far out of the lane, but that just wasn't my deal as far as the What If series went. I didn't like that episode that much. And then we got the whole Ultron deal after that. But so yeah, I mean, the opinions were very much like across the board, like, different, like, and basically I feel like I said, I just think my main point originally was just that when it boils down to it, if I tried to get my daughter right now at 17 to sit down and watch the X-Men films, she'd be very hesitant, I think.
Well, sure. I don't have kids, but I'd have to, cut myself off there because I don't have kids. So.
That you know of, brother.
I do
that you know of.
I do know. I do know that when Dark Phoenix came out, Adventure Time. Luke was very big into the X-Men. I mean, he was reading the comics the whole bit. He had the trade paperbacks for Days of Future Past. He had for Dark Phoenix, and he was really big into the X-Men. And then Dark Phoenix came out. Well, that's a newer X-Men. And we went, and he was like, "Oh, I want to go see it. It's the new X-Men movie." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Did you watch Apocalypse? Do you not know that this is going to be terrible?" So we went to go watch it, and he walked out of that movie going, "This is awful. That was nothing like the comic books." And so you're looking at a newer movie and a younger crowd saying they can look at it and say it looked good, but the story was jacked up.
Well, that's interesting, David, because I'll tell you, I know some people in the comic book, community industry, to where what they're telling me is that comic books, Marvel, especially Marvel comics, are actually doing pretty well right now and have been for a minute. I mean, as far as younger, like there's younger people like you're talking about, that are out there that are collecting, like they're collecting the older stuff.
And it's because of these movies. It's because little Johnny 8-year-old can go to the theaters and see Infinity War, and then he's like, "Daddy, I want to know what's going on." And Daddy's like, "Well, let's go to the comic book store and we'll buy a bunch of old comic books, and then you can read and you've got an idea."
It's very generational. My brother is like in his mid to early 20s, and he remembers the X-Men films. Like he remembers them and like thinks highly of them and everything like that, So I just think it's really generational. But I think that you have to be realistic about the fact that like when you watch Infinity War and Endgame and you see what Marvel Studios has been able to do visually, it's just not even like the X-Men movies don't touch it.
But that's just visually.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want them to touch it because that wouldn't make any sense. How would they be able to do that?
I think the storytelling is better too.
Yeah. Here's what I'm saying though. When we look at Infinity War and Endgame, you know where I liked Infinity War? And here's my experience in Infinity War. It was me sitting in the back of the theater with a girl that I didn't really know. I just had tickets and I was like, I'm bringing someone, so I didn't care about her. Whatever. But at the end of that movie, all the children were crying out, despair because everyone had just died. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, they did that perfectly. Like, that is how you set up
Another movie.
a next perfect move. Like, that's how you do it really well, by the way. If you're going to do another movie, if you're doing it in that way, but it's just good storytelling. Because you need to take your heroes to their lowest point before they can get to their highest point. And even in, Endgame, they're not at their highest point yet. They have to get there. That's part of their journey, is getting back there and completing the journey that was actually really started in Iron Man for a lot of them. But again, when I was watching Infinity War, I went into it and I was thinking to myself, there's so much that these studios get wrong that they don't understand about storytelling. Like when it comes down to the studios, they don't.
Uh-oh.
We got frozen screen again, Debbie. Don't you love it when this happens?
Don't just do something, stand there.
We got to take a picture of him one of these times. When this happens, we'll get a picture that we can use.
Usually he's in a good position. He's like, making something funky. Got a funky expression on him.
There he is.
If you didn't believe in God, he's here.
Dude, you're frozen. Like
stops.
Expressions are awesome, bro.
People have made memes of them. I take it as a compliment, but yeah, it happens.
Hey, you know that you're somebody when people are making content just to make fun of you, like every day. Like I deal with that all the time on different platforms.
I took it as a compliment.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, This guy keeps asking me. He kept asking me. This guy like made these edits or whatever on the one platform on Rizzle, where he ripped some of like my videos and like edited them into his videos and made fun of me or whatever. And he kept like asking me about them, like asking me what I thought of them and everything and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, hey, you're making fun of me. Like,
nah.
What do you? I mean, it is what it is.
Do you want me to watch you just because you're using me?
Yeah, like
I
cares,
take it as
man?
a compliment that you're using. Thank you for using me, and I'll be here. Anyway, where were we? Anyone? Are we done?
I think we're good.
We could be. Debbie?
Unless we want to like go crazy and do an overtime session where we jump into all of the other X-Men films, the X-Men First
No,
Class,
we gotta have content
That's
for other
be
shows.
Other times.
Come on.
That's why we're saving it. Do you think I couldn't have jumped anywhere that I wanted at any point?
We touched
and not
on
been
it a little bit.
enraged. Yeah, I know we touched on it. That was infuriating enough.
Plus, I have to rewatch them. So
I got to rewatch the new Class series.
And I'm pretty sure I'll have to watch that
see,
last one for the first time.
The prequels are my favorite. I like them.
Don't call them the prequels. Wait. First Class, you mean?
Well, whatever they're called.
Well,
McAvoy.
Then you can call them the prequels because there's kind of are, but.
I love
that's a whole other conversation. I guess we'll get into that next time. I don't think there's anything else coming up. Is there any new show coming out within the next week for MCU for the Marvel? Is there?
Yes. Yes. We are doing a Avengers 2012 Avengers review. We're gonna do.
All right.
We're gonna do it in 2 parts.
Doing that. I was saying, is there anything else coming out on Disney Plus, or is there anything new?
Oh
no, Eternals.
No.
Eternals is next.
November 5th.
So, depending on whatever, we'll probably talk about on MCU Mondays next week. More X-Men, possibly Spider-Man. I mean, like, we've got different things lined up. They also just delayed all that stuff. So
we got the Raimi trilogy. We've got the Amazing Spider-Man.
We got Blade. I wanted to wait for that for
Deadpool,
closer to Multiverse of Madness, but given that we're getting into, it's October and we're gonna have Halloween, I think we could do a Blade. I think we could do some Blade. And Debbie wants some Ryan Reynolds. He's in the third Blade movie, so
Give me some Ryan Reynolds.
Give me some Ryan Reynolds.
He was in X-Men Origins too. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was god awful. That's
one.
something that you try to delete from your head.
That pissed me off so much.
And and also, oh, what was it? Nope, it's gone.
I gotta step out for just 1 second. I'll be right
we're gonna
back.
be okay.
Oh, well, no, that's fine. If you're gonna close it out, let's close
We're
it out.
done. This is it. Okay. I hope everyone. Thank you for joining us. Let's put on something fun for everyone. Wait, where is he?
Oh, that's not right. No.
Shit! Language. Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language? Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about
The
that?
Hero's imprint.
Out with the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.